But why are you interested in tech? What's it been like for you? Has it affected your art at all, you think, in the long run?
It's affected my perspective of what I want to do with my art, because it's allowed me to see how you can manipulate like current structures and current industries and totally disrupt them through tech, you know what I mean? And going into the art world, there's so many things that are pre-existing structures, and it's just like every time I look at something, I'm like, how can I disrupt that? You know what I mean? You know, every time you see something, you're like, how can I change that? So it's given me a different perspective on how I approach just art as a whole. And at the same time, it's an introduction to a new world, because I'm used to looking at stuff from a consumer perspective. I'm looking at it to the point where when it becomes an iPad, or when it becomes popular, now seeing behind the scenes, and there's some gritty stories, you know what I mean? Seeing behind the scenes and watching how stuff develop is so phenomenal. And also it gives you a different kind of work ethic as a person, because you have to put in a lot of work into these products. They go through so many developmental stages just to get to the final before the average person can consume them consistently. So it's just really given me a whole new perspective on how work ethic works, how any industry operates, and just how like time and how much dedication you have to put towards stuff. And just the insight of some people, like, to come up with these stuff, it's like, how do you think of this? And it's just, it gives you a new appreciation of simplicity, because all these things, all they look at is the simplest thing, and how to make it make it something, and how to make it more simple for everybody, you know? So yeah, definitely, it's been an experience.
You gave a talk at some company that was up on YouTube, and I watched it. You said something like, the crazy people will one day rule the world. And you were citing things like the Wright brothers and all these other people that at the time were talking about absolutely insane ideas, right? And what, are you saying the same thing with tech?
Yeah, I'm saying the same thing, yeah. I definitely think probably every tech entrepreneur I've met, they have that consistent factor whereby they're they're visionaries, you know what I mean? They suggest some stuff to me, and I'll say, like, where are you getting this from, you know what I mean? And I think these are the people that end up coming to the forefront of the industries, the people who are really just out there and put out ideas that they're not conceivable right now. And I like being around those people, because they make me push my boundaries of understanding and exploration into new things.
Which is weird, because it's almost the opposite of art. Because a lot of artists would be like, no, I'm creative, and I would never want to know like how a company works, or what about costs, or what about marketing expenses, or all that stuff. Yeah. But you're loving seeing that.
I love it. I mean, I view my art to an extent as a business, and you know, obviously I don't want the art itself to be reflective as a business, but the context, the structure of how to make it sustainable and stuff. There's a business capacity to it. So I like learning all that stuff, and having developed a lot of my stuff quite organically and by myself, I realize I'm able to give them a lot of like input into do stuff. And when I see them do stuff and it works, for me it's kind of like, it gives me validity of my methods and what I know, and it kind of helps increase my confidence as well.
So you're like an advisor, kind of.
To an extent, I give some good advice. I'll be like, oh, you know, I'd say it. I would have said it to a group of my friends in the past, and they would have thought I'm crazy. But I say it to this group of people, and they're like, that might work. They implement it, and then I'm like, or someone else tells them to implement it, and then I'm like, oh wow, like my idea is good. There is that frustration whereby you can walk into a lot of places, and because you're not from a marketing company, you don't have this kind of background, like people will just disregard your idea, then do it 2 weeks later because someone else said it who's higher up, you know?
Right. Yeah, I guess that's always an issue, right? No, but this whole industry is exciting. I mean, we started our show 6 months ago, Silicon Reel. And it's just the people you meet. I mean, I used to make a funny joke about it, is that you meet people who actually like their jobs.
Yeah.
You know,
passionate.
Which is rare, right? I mean, like I'd say 8 out of 10 people I meet don't like their job.
Yeah.
So these people are passionate, you know, they're obviously breaking the mold. They're counterintuitive. They are artists.
Yeah, they are
rebels,
artists, very
really.
much like artists. I think that's why I relate to the tech industry, because it's all rebellious, you know what I mean? And the fact that you get people to fund these rebellious ideas is winning, you know what I mean?
Yeah, it's disruptive, rebellious. And you made an analogy in that talk you gave, like Kodak versus Instagram. It's crazy, because you said it's like Kodak had 100 and some thousand employees, and then Instagram with 13. And it's just like crazy. If you just think, like, if somebody in Kodak had said, all right, I'm going to take 100 groups of 13 people, send them to a cabin on different places, and give them some money, and let them come up with it. But the mentality is not that way.
It's not that way.
So it's just these game changers.
It's crazy. Apparently Samsung implemented something like that, whereby the whole module was that they situate different employees in different parts of the world for like 2 years or something like that. And then when they come back, they have an understanding of that area. They have relationships there, and they did it when the countries like Russia or something like that. Then like the years later, they became one of the leading phone providers in Russia or something like that. That kind of idea of just like exploring and, you know, going really out there.
Yeah, Steve Jobs did that early on at Apple, I think, or Next, one of the two companies where he was at, where he took a small core group and he hired like opera singers and all these people that nothing to do with tech. And he even put himself and he separated them completely from the company where the manufacturing was going on, and they worked on the Next computer because he knew he had to keep them away from all the normal nonsense and the ways of thinking. And everyone was going to tell him, no, you can't do that because we can't manufacture
that is what you get.
But, you have to have that foresight, I think,
You always, he's a genius for that, because you do get that, you can't do that. That doesn't make sense, you know what I mean? And some of the companies, that's what I like, particularly even with at the Canon office, is there's a lot of creative people in one place. So you get a lot of ideas, a lot of crazy ideas, like, but they all like coming together to make something good happen.